Hello, everyone. It's just Jeffrey joining you for this episode of Historic New Jersey, and today we bring you to the Caldwell Parsonage in Union. What can you tell us about the Caldwells?
Oh, there's quite a bit to tell. James Caldwell was a reverend, and his church was the First Presbyterian Church in Elizabeth, and it was burned down by the British and the Hessians in the Battle of Elizabethtown. He was married to Hannah Caldwell, who was part of the Ogden family from Newark, and they married and had 10 children. One died in childbirth, and the other 9 were growing up in Elizabeth. And then when that parsonage burned down, and along with the church, Caldwell moved his family here to give them a place to stay. And that was in 1780. And on June 7th, 1780, the British and the Hessians came from Elizabeth, from Staten Island, across the Arthur Kill, and came up Elizabeth Avenue and Galloping Hill Road, and were on their way to Morristown to defeat Washington once and for all, and were stopped here at the Battle of Connecticut Farms on June 7, 1780. This is portraying the Battle of Connecticut Farms. The church was there, definitely not the church that we are looking at. This is what is there now, along with the cemetery. And I'm sure the British soldiers weren't spread out like that in that kind of formation. However, the British did come with over 5,000 troops on their way to Washington's headquarters in Morristown. And the colonists, the militia, the New Jersey militia, and the regular army had about 1,500 soldiers who were trying to slow the advance of the British and the Hessians. As the Hessians were retreating, Hannah was here with two of her children, and was shot and killed as she looked out the window by a British soldier. And that was according to the testimony of 2 hired girls who were here helping her.
So, David, you had actually mentioned earlier that the county seal depicts that fateful moment.
According to what we know, it's the only county seal that depicts the murder of a person as the county seal. And it shows Hannah being shot. A little bit of artist's interpretation. She's standing outside of her house with her hands raised, and the British soldier is killing her. But we know that she was, according to the testimony, was inside looking out the window. There's a battle going on and people are retreating, gunfire. So she was looking out. According to the story, she was pulling her 2-year-old son away from the window because he was looking out, and she was shot. After the Battle of Connecticut Farms, a couple of weeks later, Kniphausen and his troops tried to once again get to Morristown. And on June 23rd, they were stopped at the Battle of Springfield. And according to the story, the soldiers were running out of wadding that was used to fire their rifles. And Reverend Caldwell went into the church, took the Watts hymnals, brought them out, ripped pages out of it, handed it to the soldiers, and said, "Give them Watts, boys." And they used the hymnal pages as the wadding for their rifles. On November 24th, 1781, Caldwell was on his way to the river to escort a young woman named Beulah Murray to the Jersey side from New York. And at that time, a young man named James Morgan, who some say was an agent for the British, shot and killed Reverend Caldwell in cold blood. He was unarmed and was escorting this young woman.
So we're in front of this fascinating display case, and I have to ask, we have cannonballs. I see some bayonets as well on the bottom. Were these all, are they, first of all, period, and also were they found here at the parsonage?
Well, they weren't found here at the parsonage, but they were found in the Connecticut Farms area. Almost all of them are artifacts that were found years after the Battle of Connecticut Farms and after the war was long over. Even some of these Watts hymnals that Caldwell was supposedly giving out to the soldiers, one or two of them are period, but most of them are just from years later, and we just have them on display.
So we're standing in front of a portrait of Hannah Caldwell.
Well, this is actually an AI image of Hannah.
This is AI.
Yes, it is.
Wow, this is very well done.
A young man in the area produced this for us so that we can show what Hannah may have looked like. The actual Caldwell family Bible is housed in the Elizabeth Public Library, and we have a photograph of the children and it indicating when they were born. So it's an actual proof that they did exist and they were living. And after both Hannah and James were murdered, all of the children were farmed out and adopted by other people. Marquis de Lafayette, he actually adopted one of the children.
Wow.
George Washington donated money to the Caldwell children in order to help them get along in life. And all of them, according to the reports, went on to live productive lives.
And they had wonderful opportunity to do so.
They did. They did.
I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to this episode of Historic New Jersey. And I'd like to thank David Arminio for giving us this wonderful tour. And I'd like to thank Barbara LaMort, the president of the Union Township Historical Society. I'm feeling very well protected here with Barbara by my side. And we'll be back for a part 2 of the Caldwell Parsonage. We'll be joined by David and Barbara again. Thank you so much for having us, and we'll see you next time.